All right, so we're on your estate planning checklist series, and we have talked about trust in prior ones, but we're continuing the trust one. This is part 5 of trust. Yeah, this is how detailed true estate planning is. So let's talk about clauses that need to be included so that your plan actually works for you and your family and isn't just a bunch of poorly prepared, quickly drafted documents that haven't taken into account the nuances that are going to be there for you and your family. Let's talk about termination of continuing trust. Does your trust address or allow the trustee to end and close out trusts that are not needed anymore under certain circumstances, right? It might not be economically feasible, there might not be enough assets. Does your trust talk about this? Does your trust talk about funeral and other expenses for beneficiaries? Does your trust allow your trustee to cover these funeral expenses for your beneficiaries? What if you have children that don't have a lot of money and they pass away? They pass away after you. Or maybe they pass away and you're incapacitated, right? Does your trust allow for use of money to take care of them in that respect? Does your trust allow for your trustee to manage a closely held business? Most small business owners have a closely held business. What does it mean by closely held? It's not a public kind of a traded stock thing. It's a business that you own, maybe you and your spouse own, maybe you and a partner own. Does it allow your trustee to manage these things? It's got to say it or it doesn't work and they don't have the authority. Does your trust allow for your trustee, or does it have provisions that make sure that you don't lose an S election in your entity if you've elected to be taxed, if your business is elected to be taxed under subchapter S? So these are really important clauses that must be in there, especially if you're a business owner. Does your trust allow and talk about your trustee being able to coordinate, trustee authority coordinate with buy-sell agreements, right? If you've got buy-sell agreements in your business, does it allow your trustee to work with the people in your business? If you've got a professional practice, you're a physician, if you're a realtor, if you're a lawyer, right? Does it allow your trustee to, do you have a trustee, a special trustee that's appointed for dealing with professional practices? First and foremost, right? Because the reality is, right, if you're not a specific kind of professional, you can't have any sort of authority over professional practices. And so this is really key to have these provisions if you own a professional business. Hey, guess what, realtors? You're also subject to this, right? Brokers? Okay. Does your trust have specific comprehensive benefit definitions, right? Definitions about like who is what is a qualified beneficiary, what's not a qualified beneficiary, what's a retirement account thing, da, da, da. Does it have really clear definitions so that your trustee knows what the hell it means when these references are made? If your trust does not have a clear and unambiguous definition section, you're missing out, and it's going to create some real risks of litigation, right? When things are not defined, they are left for a court to decide, and that is expensive. Is there a provision there about things being contested or fought about? Does your state even allow non-contest provisions? That's really, really important to discuss with an estate planning attorney. And this is essentially saying, oh, if this person, this beneficiary or legal heir of mine, disagree with how I've stated it, do they have the ability to challenge it, right? That's a contest provision. And then finally, when dealing with trust, as part of our checklist, does it have a funding, is it accompanied by a funding checklist that says, here's how you fund your trust so that it actually will keep your family out of probate and guardianship litigation? Because the reality is that if you do not fund your trust, meaning put your assets into the trust, you are forcing yourself and your family into guardianship and probate court. So if you have not funded your trust, if your trust doesn't come with instructions on how to fund, if nobody knows how the heck to do this, it's designed to fail you and your family. Don't go with the comfort of having something quickly drafted online or having a cheaply done thing by a notary or, an estate planning mill and think that that's okay and that's sufficient to protect your family. It's not. Always go with an expert.